I've been carrying a Glock for more than a decade. It's solid, reliable. I know every inch of that platform like the back of my hand. But let me tell you something that might shock you. I've started leaving my Glock at home. Not because it failed me, not because I lost faith, but because I've found something different, something better, at least for how I carry, how I move, and how I live. Snub-nose revolvers. Yes, those little wheel guns everyone called outdated are quietly making a serious comeback. And not just with beginners or nostalgic old-timers. I'm talking about seasoned Glock owners like me, deliberately switching over. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 specific snub-nose revolvers that are turning heads and turning holsters right now in 2025. If you think revolvers are dead, you're in for a surprise. Let's talk about what Glock got right, what it didn't, and why these 5 revolvers are suddenly taking over. Let's get one thing straight. Glock hasn't lost its place in the gun world. It's still one of the most trusted names in personal defense. But if you've been paying attention to conversations in gun shops, on forums, or even at your local range lately, you'll notice a subtle shift in tone. It's not that Glock has done something wrong. It's that more people are starting to ask whether striker-fired, polymer-framed pistols are still the best tool for the job, especially when the stakes are real, not theoretical. You see, when it comes to concealed carry, the simplicity and mechanical certainty of a revolver start to look mighty appealing. No slide to cycle, no magazine to fail, no stovepipes, no limp wrist drama, just 5 or 6 rounds in a tight, self-contained system that works the same way every single time. For everyday carriers, people who move, sweat, bend, and draw under pressure, those qualities matter. Let's not forget the over-customization trap. The Glock platform is like Lego for gun guys. Optics, light-bearing holsters, magwells, extended base plates, compensators, you name it. There's a mod for it. And while that flexibility can be exciting, it often turns into a rabbit hole. The weapon ends up heavier, bulkier, and oddly less reliable than it was out of the box. That's where revolvers come back in. Not as relics, but as refined tools for those who know what they're doing. And when Glock owners, people who pride themselves on reliability and simplicity, start dumping their pistols in favor of snub noses, it's worth paying attention, because this shift isn't driven by nostalgia, it's driven by experience, and by a growing realization that less can actually be more when you're carrying every day, trusting your life to something that has to work every single time. If there's one revolver that has redefined what carry-friendly truly means, it's the Ruger LCR. Let's be honest, most revolvers have that old-school steel and wood vibe. Not this one. The LCR feels like the iPhone of revolvers, sleek, efficient, and designed with function in mind. And it's one of the biggest reasons why Glock owners like me are rethinking our everyday carry setup. Let's talk about weight. The LCR chambered in 38. Special weighs just under 14 ounces unloaded. Go for the 357 Magnum version, and it's still under 18 ounces. That's featherlight compared to a fully loaded Glock 19 or even a compact 43X. Slip it into a pocket holster, an ankle rig, or an appendix setup, and it disappears. The polymer lower frame doesn't just save weight, it absorbs recoil better than you'd think. Ruger's patented cam-based trigger system is a game changer. That double action pull, smooth, consistent, and predictable. It's not a target trigger by any means, but for defensive shooting, it's exactly what you want. No mush, no stack, just clean movement through the pull. Another win? Grip design. Unlike many revolvers that feel like you're trying to hold a rock with a handle, the LCR's grip melts into your palm. Even with sweaty hands or gloves, it stays put. And with the exposed cylinder and internal hammer, there's nothing to snag on clothing during the draw. Now, if you're wondering how 5 rounds of 38 or 357 can replace your double-stack Glock 19, here's what I'll say. Placement trumps capacity. And under stress, you'll want a trigger you can trust and a platform that won't fail you, even if you're shooting from a compromised position or inside a jacket pocket. Is it perfect? No. Reloads are slower, and it won't win any matches. But for the pure task of getting rounds on target when your life's on the line, The LCR might be the cleanest, most streamlined carry gun I've ever owned. No slide to rack, no mags to seat, no second chances required. Just 5 rounds, and 5 reasons to rethink that polymer striker-fired habit. Now let's talk about a revolver that's been hiding in plain sight for decades, yet somehow still manages to outclass many modern carry guns when it comes to pure practicality. The Smith Wesson 6.42 Ultimate Carry. This little beast is the definition of no frills, no fail. And if you've ever tried pocket carrying a Glock, you already know exactly why the 6.42 earns its spot on this list. The 6.42 weighs just 14.4 ounces. That's not light for a gun. That's featherweight, period. We're talking aluminum alloy frame, stainless steel cylinder, and the kind of size that disappears in gym shorts, cargo pants, or even slacks. Glock 43X in the same pocket. Not unless you want a brick-shaped outline greeting everyone you pass. But this revolver isn't just light. It's built with purpose. It's double action only, which means no external hammer to snag on clothing. You could fire it straight from a coat pocket if you absolutely had to. That's the kind of real-world advantage no semi-auto can match without risking a jam. Now, let's talk about how it shoots. It's chambered in .38 Special, and while it's not a plush experience recoil-wise, it's completely manageable with proper grip. This isn't a range toy. It's a last-resort answer to a worst-case scenario. And for that job, it delivers. What sets the 6.42 apart is its record. This revolver has been carried by undercover cops, retired detectives, off-duty instructors, and thousands of civilians who just want something simple, effective, and always ready. You'd be hard-pressed to find any widespread complaint about function or reliability. And that's saying a lot in today's world of picky magazines and ammo sensitivity. Compared to a Glock, the 6.42 requires no mag checks, no rack and tap drills, no worries about a slide hanging up on a soft draw. You pull the trigger, and it goes bang, every single time. It doesn't ask for attention. It doesn't beg to be customized, and it doesn't care if it gets scratched up or pocket-linted to death. It's a gun that's ready when you are. And for many of us, that quiet dependability is exactly what we're missing. If the LCR and 6.42 are all about concealability and simplicity, the Colt King Cobra Carry enters with a different energy entirely. This is the revolver for Glock owners who want to upgrade, not just switch. It brings everything we love about .357 Magnum and wraps it in a compact, carryable, and undeniably sexy package. The King Cobra Carry isn't just another snub nose. It's a 6-shot stainless steel revolver with a 2-inch barrel, Dow, double action only, and that iconic Colt smoothness. The minute you hold one, it's obvious. This isn't a gimmick or a nostalgia trip. This is a serious defensive firearm with modern build quality and real-world power. Let's talk about capacity. Most snub noses give you 5 rounds. The King Cobra gives you 6. I know it doesn't sound like a huge difference, but in a worst-case scenario, that 6th round can feel like gold. And when you're launching full-house .357 Magnums, you don't need a whole magazine to get the job done. Now here's where it really stands out for Glock owners. Control. Despite being stainless steel and chambered in a powerful caliber, the King Cobra Carry balances beautifully in the hand. The recoil is stiff but controllable, and the trigger pull? Smooth as butter. You won't get that same predictable roll in most striker-fired guns, no matter how much aftermarket polish you slap on. And let's not ignore psychology. Carrying a Glock feels like utility. Carrying a King Cobra feels like authority. You draw this thing, and it makes a statement. The look, the heft, the name, it commands attention. But more importantly, it delivers performance. The downside? Sure, it's heavier than a Glock 43X. You'll notice it on the belt. But it carries its weight well, and for those willing to train with it, the trade-off in accuracy and firepower is more than worth it. For me, the King Cobra Carry is the revolver equivalent of the Glock 19, but classier, punchier, and built for the long game. It's not your first gun, it's your grown-up gun. And for those Glock owners who've outgrown the plastic and want something with more bite, this revolver is exactly where you land. If you told me 5 years ago that Taurus would be the one challenging Glock's dominance in the EDC world, I'd probably laugh and walk off. But here we are in 2025, and the Taurus 856 Defender TORO is not only being taken seriously, it's giving seasoned Glock carriers a real reason to jump ship. Let's start with what makes this revolver stand out. TORO stands for Taurus Optics-Ready Option. Yes, you heard that right. This is a revolver that's red dot compatible straight out of the box. We're talking a snub nose, 3-inch barrel, 6-shot 38 special, plus P-rated, complete with an optics plate system that accepts micro red dots like the Holosun 407K and Shield RMSC. Now pause and think about that. One of Glock's biggest advantages has always been modularity, red dots, threaded barrels, suppressor height sights. You can build your Glock like a Lego set. But with the Defender TORO, you get that optic-ready flexibility on a revolver. No custom machining, no adapters, just screw it on and zero it. But this isn't just about flashy features. The Taurus 856 Defender TORO is actually a solid shooter. The trigger is surprisingly smooth for a wheelgun in its price range, and that extra inch of barrel length over traditional snubs makes a real difference in velocity, sight radius, and balance. Plus, you've got a front night sight and a no-nonsense rubber grip that locks into the hand. Of course, some Glock loyalists will scoff. Taurus isn't reliable, they'll say. And that might have been true once upon a time. But Taurus has turned a corner. Fit and finish have improved. Quality control has tightened. And the company is aggressively targeting the carry market with features that Glock simply doesn't offer at this price. And that's the kicker. For half the price of a tricked-out Glock MOS with a red dot, you can carry a reliable, powerful, and optics-equipped revolver with fewer moving parts, less maintenance, and a simpler manual of arms. If you've ever said, "I'd love to carry a revolver, but I need my red dot," the Defender TORO just called your bluff. This is not your grandpa's snub nose. It's the budget-minded Glock killer nobody saw coming. When I first picked up the Kimber K6, I wasn't thinking about Glock. I was thinking about elegance, refinement, something closer to a Swiss watch than a service pistol. But the moment I put rounds through it, that changed. The Kimber K6 isn't just beautiful, it's brutally capable. And it's winning over Glock carriers who want their EDC to feel like a serious commitment, not just a plastic habit. Let's get technical. The K6 is a .357 Magnum revolver with a 2-inch barrel. Although longer variants exist, it holds 6 rounds, which immediately puts it ahead of most snub-nose revolvers in capacity. The frame and cylinder are made of solid stainless steel, giving it a planted, confident heft. At just over 23 ounces unloaded, it's not featherlight. But that weight becomes your friend the moment you touch off a Magnum round. Now, what sets the K6 apart from the crowd, and especially from striker-fired pistols like the Glock 43X or even the Glock 26, is the trigger. Kimber designed this thing with an internal hammer and a match grade, factory-tuned double-action trigger pull. It's smooth, linear, and shockingly crisp for a DA revolver. There's no grit, no stacking. It just glides. And let's talk about recoil. You'd expect a gun this size, firing full-power .357 loads, to feel like a firecracker in your palm. But the K6 manages recoil better than many Glocks I've shot in 9mm. The steel frame absorbs energy, the grip design distributes force efficiently, and the balance is nearly perfect. It doesn't flip, it settles. But here's the emotional hook. This gun feels like it was built with intention, not mass-produced, not committee-designed. It doesn't beg for aftermarket tweaks or threaded gadgets. It is what it is, tight, strong, purpose-built, and classy as hell. This is the revolver for the Glock owner who's tired of polymers, tired of troubleshooting magazine issues, and tired of carrying something that looks like a barcode scanner. The K6 doesn't need hype. It just works, and it looks damn good doing it. Is it the lightest? No. Is it the cheapest? Definitely not. But if you're ready to elevate, not just your carry, but your confidence, the K6 makes a statement that no Glock ever could. So, is Glock dead? Of course not. It's still a damn good gun. But here's the hard truth. For many of us who carry every day, who train hard, who think beyond range sessions and Instagram posts, the revolver just makes more sense. Not because it's cooler, not because it's nostalgic, but because it's simpler, tougher, and more honest. These 5 snub-nose revolvers aren't gimmicks. They're not backups anymore. They're trusted tools carried by people who've seen enough to know that reliability beats round count and function beats fashion. If you're still holding on to your Glock like it's untouchable, maybe it's time to ask yourself why. And if you've already made the switch, welcome to the wheelgun renaissance. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you sticking with Glock, or are you ready to dump it for something that just works?